All right, so I've got to go out and do some work on the Honda CB125F because I tried something stupid in an attempt to open the throttle a little bit more, and I took a grinder to the throttle stop. Now, this modification has turned out to be a bit like Schrödinger's modification, or Schrödinger's cat if you're familiar with it, is that the modification both worked and it didn't. It absolutely allowed me to crack the throttle open wider. However, the ECU knows that that shouldn't happen and sends an error code and cuts the power of the bike in half while you're riding. So for some reason, it doesn't like you being able to open the throttle wider than the ECU's presets. And so what I have to do is just get some JB Weld putty and fill up the groove that I made with the grinder. And that is going to stop that error code from popping up again, because obviously the throttle won't be able to open wider than what it's supposed to. It's a little bit frustrating because it worked. I was able to open the throttle wider, but the moment the ECU picks up on it, it cuts the power in half, which makes it obsolete. So absolutely do not do what Nick does. I am not a mechanic, and I will do things that you're not supposed to. Whether it is a success or a failure, man, I don't care. I'll upload it anyway. But yeah, don't do what Nick does. So we'll get out into the yard and see what I can do about fixing my own mistake. Alright, so you can see the damage I've done with the grinder in here. Yeah, all we're going to do is get the JB putty and just fill up this gap in around here, because what's happening is the throttle cracks up all the way. I can't do this one-handed. When the throttle cranks up all the way, it's tripping a code in the ECU, which is turning out to be quite dangerous. So yeah, I'll go and get the putty and I'll stick it on. So as you can see, or can you? It won't focus. So as you can see, there's the putty that I've smeared back in there. It's none too neat, but it will cure. We need to give that at least an hour's setting time. And then once it's hardened, I can plug my OBD2 scanner in there and check the throttle position, make sure it's still opening up wide enough, and if I need to, I can chip away some of that putty, you know, if we're only getting about 80% or whatever throttle, but I'm pretty confident that's not sticking out any further than it needed to be anyway. Now, I'm looking in here, and these two 10mm bolts here are what's holding that fuel injector in, which is, I've got something coming for that. Looking at the space here, I probably won't have to take the tank off, but I'll probably just remove that bolt and lift it up like that to give myself a bit more room just to work, because there's not much room in there. I would really rather not have to remove the battery or anything like that. And if I have to remove the tank, I will, but that's a job I don't want to have to think about. But if we can get in there, it should be as simple as popping the wire off there, and then the fuel hose on the other side. We will see when I get in there. I feel like it's going to be easier with the tank out of the way, but that's not today's job. We'll get to that when I come to it. So the JB steel stick, or the putty as I nickname it, has a curing time of about 60 minutes, and it's been on here for about 40 minutes. Now I can poke at it and prod at it, and it's not, you know, I really have to push it in to make a dent. I'm pretty confident I can crack the throttle up with my scanner installed and see what the maximum throttle position is reading, which when I did that grinding, it read something like 98%, which, you know, anything over about 90 I'll be satisfied with, but we'll plug it in and see. Right, so I'm hoping that the light is well enough. So absolute throttle position. .7, 87 tops. I think that's probably okay. I'd be happier if it was at about 90, mind you. Alright, so I had a bit of a chip away at the putty, which is part of the reason why I wanted to come out before it was fully set. We're getting 90% throttle there, which is an 8% reduction on what I was getting with the modification. But that should be fine, that should be safe enough to ride. Alright, now all I really need to do is let that JB Weld cure, and then I can take the bike out for a bit of a ride. The difficult thing is that error code doesn't pop up every time you ride, and if you've been watching my videos, I did that massive blast down the freeway, not a problem. It seems completely random when the ECU decided to trigger that code or not. But basically I've got my OBD2 scanner packed into my tail bag. I just got to make sure that I take it with me when I go. It may take a few rides to confirm whether or not that solved the problem I created or not. The only way to really tell is to put the kilometers on the bike, get out there and ride. I don't expect that 8% reduction in throttle is going to make a huge difference. Yeah, basically I won't know until I ride it. I won't tack that onto this video because it's already getting long enough, and most people don't watch videos more than 10 minutes long for some reason. I think what I'll do is upload my test ride as a separate video. Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to perform. So I have actually got on order an upgraded fuel injector, which no idea if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a go. But before that goes in, I want to make sure that I've taken care of this first problem, because I don't want there to be too many reasons that could be going wrong. I'll try and do an in-depth video when that injector comes in. It shouldn't be too difficult to remove. The biggest problem is the space that's in there. For me, it'll be a question of, do I feel like I need to remove the tank or not? And I'd really rather not. But yeah, as far as I can tell, at least on YouTube, there's nobody else who's bothered to try and upgrade the injector on a CB125F. I'm going to do it and see how I go. That'll be coming up in the next few videos anyway, so wish me luck with the test ride, and I'll catch you on the next one.